here now, guys and gals. Well, I'm out walking a little bit between two rainfalls. Yeah, we've been having a lot of rain this week, and as you can see by the way that I'm dressed today, it's a lot colder. It's like 9 Celsius, something like that. And you think that last week it went up to 29? That's 20 degrees Celsius difference between last week and this week. It's kind of amusing because last week the news reports were talking with the weatherman, because we usually have a cold spell in May, and it's always called well, it's got a funny name here. In French it's the Saint Glace, which means like the holy ice system. I know it's weird, but it means basically I think it's like the ice that comes, not unexpected, something like that. I don't know exactly where what the transliteration would be. I don't know what the transliteration would be. But anyway, and the weatherman was saying, with climate change, none of this is going to happen anymore. We're always going to have hot weather and so on. And bang, 1 week after we're in that period where it's cold like it should be, so to say. Having said that, very often in this period it actually freezes, and it didn't freeze this time. It went down like to 5 or 6. For those of you who aren't on Celsius, 0 Celsius is when water freezes. So 5 is pretty cold. It's getting, so yeah, that's like what we had. Anyway, I'm not saying that there aren't any changes happening in the world, but there's I was almost going to say the doctrine right now is that things are not you're not supposed to usually talk differently to what things are. Oh, this truck has to back off out, and it's just too big for what's there for him, and somebody's helping him out. I think that's a good thing. It's funny, it's the second time in a few days that I've been seeing somebody having to help a truck or a bus or something get out of a really tight situation. The roads are really quite narrow here, and whenever you end up, especially if you're driving something like that, yesterday it was a bus going into a one-way street that was having construction and ended up being a dead end. So it was very narrow, and you had to back all the way back and then back into a roundabout. So that was not easy at all. But anyway, somebody helped him. So where was I talking about before I interrupted myself? Oh yeah, I was saying about, it's how actually it's become very difficult in today's world to have a discourse that goes against what is supposedly, have a discourse that could supposedly be against accepted dogma today. Sorry, I'm looking here because the people are driving a little bit crazy. We found what they call a zebra crossing, and the guy didn't stop. So, yeah. Went earlier to a garden center and got some plants, some vegetable plants that we'll be putting into the garden. Well, that's Mrs. DC. She's the one with the green thumb. I thought when we moved into the house, well, a couple things. I thought I'd like it more, and I thought I'd be better at it than I am. And I realized that I'm a pretty bad gardener, actually. I'm not very good at that. And maybe because I'm not very good at it, I don't enjoy it as much. But she does. But one thing that's different now is that I was doing it in the ground, like I like to say, like a garden should be. And she does it in a, well, more of these elevated gardens, the ones that are in kind of like big boxes. And people like to say that they're for older people or for people living in apartments. Well, maybe it's a bit of both, but it is true that it's a lot easier to take care of it. And you can make actually quite a few vegetables, especially she has quite a few of them. But as far as the weeding goes and stuff like that, it's much, much easier to take care of it. When I was doing it straight in the ground. Yeah. Well, yesterday I made a video in Spanish, and for once I was actually quite happy with myself. I didn't seem to be searching for words all the time as I am sometimes. And I chatted, my professor, Isaac is his name, he told me, he says, chat about things that you have done, hobbies, stuff like that. So I chatted about, childhood and comic books and how that evolved over years and things like that. So it was a fun video, and it was a good exercise. Yeah, so I was quite happy with myself. That brings me up to what I've been asked by a few people lately, again and again it seems. People are often asking me, what do you do now that you're retired? And I like to say, you've got to create new interests, or if you're able, you can continue with your older ones, but sometimes you're not, because of the workforce or things like that. And I guess the whole question of learning a new language and doing stuff like that is just, that I've said it many, many times, so I won't get into it again. But people ask things like that, and I've seen and heard from people, they're actually in their 50s, but some, who are just coming up to 60 and see retirement coming along, and they're worried. I kind of get that, actually. Some people are really worried that they're going to be bored to death once they get to retirement and just not know what to do. And I don't know. I was quite happy. As I have said, though, many times before, is that there are things that I miss and will continue to miss. But, you have to, like so many other things in life, just move on. Well, that's about it, I guess, for the moment. I guess I'll be stopping here. Was there anything else? As usual, when you start the vlog, there always seems to be that one thing that you knew you wanted to talk about, and once you start vlogging, you forget it. It's almost like if that was part of a constant when you vlog, And on the other hand, it gives you a reason to, prepare another vlog another time. Oh yeah, I remember what that was supposed to be. No, that's pretty cool. That's becoming very, very fashionable. Bicycles, that are replacing, actually here in the town, they've been pushing people very strongly to replace their cars with what they call cargo bikes. Not the best thing for the elderly, but sometimes the elderly are the forgotten ones. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I'm up to 9 minutes, so that'll be all. DC signing off. Take care, everybody. And today is Wednesday. Yes. So, hump day. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Signing off.